Greetings everybody, I am here today with a very interesting fruit that was kindly sent to me by Brian. Brian, thank you very much. Brian sent me several very rare and interesting fruits, and I'm really excited about these ones. They're things that I haven't even heard about, and yeah, so let's jump into the first one. The common name for this in the area that it grows is Musho. However, the Latin name, or binomial name, scientific name, is this. And, yeah, if you've watched my channel at all, you know that I'm really bad at pronouncing things. So I actually looked into this, and on the Wikipedia page, they address the pronunciation of this one specifically, and say that there's some confusion and some debate on how to pronounce it correctly. Mexican botanists generally pronounce the J as in the J in Mexican Spanish. So that would mean this would be Jaltomata cajacayensis. That would be one way. But in fact, more guttural like the German CH. So, Jaltomata? The original author was a German, so presumably he would have pronounced it with an English Y. Jaltomata. You know, I don't know. I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to do what I usually do and pronounce it wrong. So this is Jaltomata cajacayensis. I am sorry, everybody. If you look online, you can find a few different web stores that are selling seeds of this fruit. So it is out there, you can find it. However, none of these sites really give any good information about this plant. There's very little written about it. All I keep seeing is that little is known about this fruit. Like that phrase, little is known about this fruit. So I did some digging on it, and I found one resource that actually reproduced an essay that was written by the person who found this, well, for science, Thomas Mione. This is really interesting. I'll actually put a link to this in the description below if you want to read the whole thing, but I'll read the part where he finds it. Segundo, Leon and I were driving from Patavilca on the coast, the department of Lima, to Reque up in the mountains. It is the next morning, and right near town, Segundo shows me a population of Jaltomata plants he once located while collecting in this area. I cannot believe my eyes. It is a new to science species. We want photographs first, and the sun is not quite high enough for that. So we take a piece of plant and ask people about it. Oh yes, they say, we call that Musho in the Chekwa language, and everyone eats the fruits uncooked. It is a very prolific plant that no one deliberately plants. It just grows in our chakras, mountain farm plots. Now I am thinking, this is too much. A common species here in the mountainside that everyone eats that is unknown to science. I just love that, reading like the excitement somebody has in finding a new species of plant. So this is a fairly new to science species. I mean, people have been eating this for a long time, but just the classification on this is very new. And what's interesting about Thomas Mione is that if you go to the list of species in the, I'm going to try to say it a little bit better, Jaltomata genus, they're all, like almost all of them are documented by him. So this is a fairly undocumented, up until recently, species of fruit, or genus of fruit rather. And this is in the Solanaceae family, so that's the same family that tomatoes are from, but it's in a different genus. So I'm curious if this is going to have like any similarity whatsoever to tomatoes. Yeah, I can see a vague resemblance to like a teeny tiny little pea-sized tomato maybe. So, here it goes, let's try it. Oh my god. I'm hit with so many different flavors right now, and I'm not sure where to start. Let me try another one. They're good. Let's start there. Next, let's break down the sweetness and sourness. Sweetness is more than a tomato, but I would say it's like a 4 out of 10, a little bit less than an apple. And they're not really tart. There's maybe like a hint of a tartness there, but not much. So maybe like a 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10. So I just bit one in half. You can see the little seeds in there. They're teeny tiny little seeds, but it does resemble a tomato, like a tomato that you just shrunk down. The flavor on it is unique, but not that out of the ordinary. I would put this in the same department as a Cape gooseberry. It tastes quite similar to that, but a little bit different. And I've eaten a few of these. Some of them have a little bit more of a savory tomato flavor in them, and some of them have less. It might be like a ripeness thing. I'm not entirely sure. But the savory tomato taste that it has is not very savory. It's like a slightly savory tomato taste. So it's more like what you would get from a Cape gooseberry, where it's more of the fruit side of a tomato than the savory side of a tomato. Like, you wouldn't want to make a tomato sauce out of these. It would taste way too fruity. It would not taste savory enough. It would be more of a sweet. There's like little bit of extra notes in there that you may or may not get from a Cape gooseberry. Maybe a touch of like a pineapple flavor, like a muted pineapple flavor. A touch of like a vanilla taste. They are maybe a bit like lulo, which is another tomato relative. And those taste kind of a little bit like an orange, I suppose. It's, it's difficult to compare fruit to other fruit sometimes, because this is definitely a unique thing. It doesn't taste exactly like any of those things I mentioned, but it does share certain similarities with them. The most similarities it shares with any fruit would be the Cape gooseberry, but there is definitely its own uniqueness there. This is the sort of thing that I can see people really liking this if it was sold in like a little container next to the blueberries. Like, you could take these, you can sprinkle these on your oatmeal or ice cream or cereal or like whatever, like you would do with a blueberry, but it would give a completely different flavor. The flavor's nothing like that, but it has the same sort of size, so you could use it in the same sort of applications as that. The Cape gooseberry, they're a little too big for that. You wouldn't want to throw a bunch of Cape gooseberries on your granola. It would be like eating like little grape tomatoes in texture. These ones, they're like small and convenient, so it definitely has maybe even more of a use than Cape gooseberries. They're a little bit easier to utilize. This is incredibly interesting to try. It's a genus that I've never even heard of, but has similarities to things that I have had in the past. It's something that is, it's got a long history, but it's only recently found for science, which is really cool. And yeah, so once again, thank you so much, Brian, for sending this to me, and thanks everybody for watching. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. I would like to give a shout out to Smarter Every Day, AltPod, and the Harvard Leaf Tea Company. They are mega patrons over on Patreon.com. If you haven't heard of it, Patreon.com it's how this channel happens. It's how I can afford to keep this YouTube channel going. So if you haven't checked it out, please take a moment to go into the description below and click the link there. I also have t-shirts for sale over at my web store. A link to that is in the description as well. Thanks so much, guys. Bye-bye.